Good morning. This is Dr. Bill Williams. We are here on the Influencers Podcast, and it's another great day. It's the week between Christmas and New Year's, and we're getting ready for New Year's resolutions, start of a new year. We're thinking about what to do, and we always need something to spur us on. So today I've got a special guest. I want to bring on Jeff Bradbury, and when you meet Jeff, you're going to see why. We're going to say this is a new start to a new year with friends like Jeff Bradbury in hand. So welcome to the Influencers Podcast, Jeff.
How are you today? It's great to be here.
Yeah, it's great. The weather's breaking down here in the South. We're getting above freezing today for the first time in a week or so we're happy. How about up there in Connecticut?
Oh, we've had some cold weather. Lost power across the state a couple of days ago, but everyone's getting back to normal and the temperatures are getting a little bit higher today.
Good. Well, it's exciting, and I'm excited actually to have a conversation with you about the Teacher Cast that you have founded, and the fact that you are an award-winning instructor, coach of teachers. You know, you're the teacher of the teachers. So I want to find out more about you. Is that okay? We do that today?
Sure, absolutely.
Good. Let's roll with where were you? What happened? And who were you surrounded by that inspired you to do what you do today, Jeff?
Sure. I'm a 20-plus year educator, originally from the Philadelphia area, now living up in New England. I've got an amazing set of 9-year-old triplets who inspire me to do great things every single day. And excited this week. I've had a lot of time to have a conversation with them, get to know them a little bit better. As they're 9 years old, of course, they're starting to light up. They had a wonderful holiday with some great and exciting presents. So we've been having a good time with that, and I'm looking forward to a great 2023 this year. Let's see. What's my greatest failure story? When did I learn it, and how did I recover from it? I don't know if I have a failure story per se. I know I've learned a lot from education. I learn a lot from my kids. You know, they're always constantly out there doing things. They're trying things. It doesn't work. I see them trying it again. It's interesting being the parent of triplets because they get a chance to grow up together, learn from each other. And each of them are constantly kind of mentoring each other as they go along. So it's fun to watch them at the table teaching each other math or reading or English or something like that. And over the last couple months, they've been really digging into some books like Percy Jackson and Harry Potter and stuff like that. So I don't really have a failure story, but as far as a success story, it's really, really cool watching the kids move forward. And that certainly helped me out being both as a parent and an educator. Bill, I can't see you or hear from you, but I guess I'll keep reading through the questions. What are the top 3 reasons that people fail? I don't know. It's a great question. I think the first reason why they fail probably is they give up trying. I know that's one of those things that we kind of keep working on with our kids here is if something doesn't quite work, continue, right? Let's just keep pushing it forward. And that could be anything from life to education to anything that you happen to do. I think the other reason why people fail is they don't reach out to others and ask for help. You know, in education, we keep talking a lot about, PLCs or personal learning communities. Been very fortunate enough over the last couple of years to build a nice one, both locally and also globally. So if there is ever challenges in life or family or education, there's always people out there. So always make sure, I guess, is my advice, is that you have people around you that are there to support you and help you out.
I know being in your position of teaching teachers, then you help people succeed in every manner. What I want to know is what motivates you to go into this field of education of the educators?
My first 15, 18 years or so in education was actually as a music educator and had a great time teaching orchestra. I've got 2 degrees in music education, actually. And somewhere around 2010, 2011, I started doing some basic professional development in my school district, and that kind of opened the eyes to, okay, if teaching 30 kids or an orchestra teaching 85 kids all at once was great, but if you really want to have an impact on this world, you start figuring out how do you have an impact on more students. So if you can help out a teacher, you're helping 30 kids. If you can help out a principal, you're helping out 30 teachers. And if you can help out a superintendent, you're helping out 30 buildings, if you will. And so very quickly, I kind of came up with this idea that if I really want to help to make an impact on the world, you got to start teaching teachers and having that awesome opportunity. I've been very blessed and had an amazing opportunity for the last 10 years to really support not only my school districts where I work, but other school districts around the country and even globally. I've had an opportunity to help create lesson plans, game plans, strategic plans, and stuff like that for school districts around the country, and it's been pretty awesome.
I can relate to that totally, Jeff. I started teaching dentist after about 5 or 10 years in practice, and I found that it was more rewarding than anything to go to the source and teach the people who treat the patients. So I'm right with you there. Tell us your 3 top success secrets that you can share with us that others model from, that you've trained them to do.
I think the first thing I always try to help teachers out is to figure out how to build systems. And this is something that I work with coaches in school buildings on too. You can't just walk in, you need to have a system. And I'm sure you know that as a dentist, right? Somebody walks in and they have a sign-in system. Somebody wants to pay, they have a payment system. Somebody comes into the office, there's a system from getting them to the waiting room into the dentist chair. And it's no different in education, right? If you're going to be working with teachers, what is the system for communicating with them? What is the system for having them reach out to you when you walk into the classroom? What does that look like? You practice these things, you check these things out, you go over these things, and you make sure that both the teacher, the coach, and the principal or the district administrator knows what's expected of that position. So that way, when a coach does walk into a classroom, it's not just this random thing. There is a plan and there is a system for how these interactions and how this one-to-one individualized professional learning is going to work. So I think one of my big success secrets is I really do love creating these systems. And a lot of that just comes from also figuring out not only the physical, but also the application based. I'm a spreadsheet guy. I love making data sheets, coming up with reasons and ways to show off the impact that teachers are having in their classrooms with students. So one of my secrets is just to, be organized, have those successes, and also having those systems put in place. Other things I always like to do is to keep that relationship going. We say on almost every single one of our teacher cast shows, no matter what it is, the secret to success in education and really in life is about building and keeping those strong relationships. So making sure that everyone's on the same page, making sure that everyone's doing what they need to be doing, how they're doing it, and basically knows the game plan. I think that's also one of those other secrets. And you know what? The third one, it's an interesting thing, but I think it's just basically, model the behavior that you want to see in others, right? It's that whole do a good turn daily, whole Boy Scout model, or do unto others idea. But, if you want to see people doing some good stuff around you, you should be the one doing the good stuff yourself.
I couldn't agree more. 3 excellent model capability that you can share with others. What about your motto, your company, TeacherCast? What's the motto of your business?
For 11 plus years now, on the top of the website, it always said a place for teachers to help other teachers. And it doesn't say that right now. I made a conscious decision in November. I did a full redesign, but for 11 plus years, it was always that. I never set out for TeacherCast to be a business. I never set it out to be a side hustle. I never set it out to be an influencing thing. None of that was ever a case. TeacherCast was created basically because I wanted to learn something, and the microphone was the way that I learned something. I brought people like yourself on, and we talked about how to do this. And okay, well, if I want to learn this, somebody else wants to learn this. Yeah, so from day one, it was always, it's just a place where teachers are going to help other teachers. And from there, it kind of grew into this thing. and I've been very blessed with it. But teachers helping other teachers, coaches helping other coaches, podcasters helping other podcasters, content creators helping other content creators. You get the idea. But it's just always been this, hey, we're hanging out and we're having a good time and we're talking, and either share or come on the show and talk about yourself for a little bit.
Sure. Well, talking about all those people who are listening to you, how do you find that ideal client or student to follow in your classroom?
Couple answers. Goes back to communications, right? Most of the people who find TeacherCast find it through organic search. If we're going to talk the technical aspect of the website, 85% of my traffic comes from Google, not from social. And that takes a lot of work. So my ideal client is somebody who's going online and saying, I want to learn how to use whatever. I want to learn how to make a podcast. I want to learn how to design in StreamYard or something like that, right? My job is basically to be there and answer the questions. If I was taking that question about my ideal client from the coaching point of view, from the practical, what I do every day, it's a teacher that wants to get better. It's a teacher that wants to help their students meet the goals and the standards of modern education these days. And I love working with teachers who not only want to work with me, but push back and ask for more and design things and just, hey, when can you come back tomorrow? This is great. And those are the, as far as a client goes, that's the kind of teacher that I love working with. And I've got many of them that I work with every single week at my schools. And I love doing that.
So you basically find them by organic search right now.
I realized a long time ago, social media is a fad. I know that sounds weird, but we can easily see, Twitter goes up and Twitter goes down. TikTok comes up and TikTok goes down. Facebook goes up. And so you can't ever rely, if we're talking the influencer space here, you can't ever rely on social media to drive your traffic. You can use it to enhance your traffic, but the largest search engine in the world is Google. That's your audience. And I can't tell you how many times I say that to podcasters or content creators or anything. Your audience is on Google. Somebody who you've never met, never going to see, don't even have anything to do with. How are you going to get that person to be your client, your user, your repeat customer, or your podcast listener? So for me, that's it. I came into social media 11 years ago when there weren't really major algorithms based off of things. Now you can't look at your Twitter feed without seeing, it doesn't even give you the latest anymore. It just gives you the popular ones, which means half the stuff people put out on Twitter, nobody's ever going to see because some arbitrary algorithm says it's not important. But Google is always constant.
You obviously have experience in delving into, where people reside on the line, on the net, and you know where they find you. So what products and what services do you offer to them?
TeacherCast is built on many platforms, and we talk about educational technology. We talk about instructional coaching. We talk about how to make a podcast. We talk about how to build a website. And basically all these different arms of TeacherCast. Basically, if I turn around and see where I've been in the last 10 years, it's always been my interests. People have come up and said, hey, you do this podcasting thing. I want to get into that. And that starts me building how to make podcasting stuff on TeacherCast. So, podcastingwithstudents.com, educationalpodcasting.com, educational podcasting directory. I've got the world's largest repository of educational podcasts sitting on TeacherCast by teachers, for teachers. I've got over 300 in a directory right now from just teachers, people like myself who are creating great content about teaching. So making sure that things are there is and easily searchable is really what I've been all about for the last 11 years.
Great. That leads me to that question I want to ask you about. How does somebody access or buy from you all this content?
Sure. Everything that I do is basically free. My heartbeat is my brand. If you go over to teachercast.net, it's very easily searchable for. Right in the middle of the screen, it says, what would you like to learn today? And it goes into all the different branches very easily. I make landing pages. So when you say buy, nothing on there is for sale. I do have some membership sites on Facebook and LinkedIn, but They're all free and open. And if you're an educational instructional coach, would love to have you in there. And if you're looking to build your brand, I've got stuff for you too. And if you're looking to learn how to make audio and video, I've got stuff in there for you too. So head on over to teachercast.net. There's a lot of great things to do, and check out and download.
Sounds like a very honorable situation that you can give away such good content. So kudos to you, sir. And let's jump into this 5-star client experience question. How do people come away with this experience when they enter your sphere?
I just keep asking questions. I love talking. I love sharing. I love learning from other people. So I think if anybody walks into TeacherCast or comes into one of my sessions, the best thing they can do is just keep asking questions. I love it when I'm given a session and people push back at me. I do a session all about animation and how to make flip book animations using Google Slides. And people are always going to ask you about copyright laws. And I love when they do, because that opens up a conversation that wouldn't be there if people just kind of sat back passively. So, I keep pushing.
So you go from 5-star experience, and then they become brand ambassadors, of course. How do you convert people to do just that?
Create great content. That's the one thing that I say to every podcaster. And I always ask about, how do you get your numbers up? How do you get your sphere out there to the world? And it's just simple. It's just create great content. And how do you do that? You have to know what your audience is. When you close your eyes, what is the image that you see, right? When I close my eyes, I'm looking at somebody who wants to make a podcast but doesn't quite know how. Or an instructional coach who might be in their first year, might be the only instructional coach in a 6-school school district, and they don't have any mentorship. Okay, that's who I'm talking to. Or could be the teacher that's in the middle of the country making 30 grand as a teacher and wants to make more money to improve themselves for their family. Okay, how can I help that person become more online and more self-sustaining for themselves? So always figure out who your client is and give them exactly what they need, and just let it happen. They'll be the ones to share your story.
Tell me what you're grateful for today, Jeff.
I have 3 healthy 9-year-olds that are sitting behind me having a good time today.
Lovely. Healthy, happy, engaged. That's a perfect group. Starting every day, what happens at your house?
World War triplet happens. We try to get them up, and usually a half an hour later, we're still trying to get them up. We have to be at daycare at a certain time. We have to, we both have to get to work by a certain time, and there's very slim margin for error on that. So we always have to make sure that we're where we need to be as quick as possible. And when you've got, 6 legs and 6 arms and 3 smiling faces running around, it's never easy. But it's always fun.
Sounds like you need a triplet system.
We have a triplet system. My wife is amazing.
So you have big goals for your teacher cast. You have big goals for instructional coaching. How do you plan to achieve your goals?
I have a system for that too. Little plug. But 2 months ago, I moved all of TeacherCast into an application that's called Notion. And through that, I've been able to create a series of systems. And through that, it's just basically taking the big arc of where I want to be, and then you chop it up into smaller parts. I'm in the middle right now of writing a book, and you don't write a book, you write a chapter. And before you write a chapter, you write a paragraph. Before you write a paragraph, you write an outline, and making sure that these things are starting to fit into place. And then eventually you have a mountain, and then you've got 2 mountains, and then you've got a range. And that's the only way that I can plan on achieving this. With triplets, it's the same thing. I know that's the topic of the day, but you don't say, what are they going to be at the end of the year? You say, what are we going to learn this week? And you just take this thing little bit by little bit. And that's the same way I approach my coaching. We don't bite off the entire salad. We take it tomato by tomato.
Sounds like you chunk it. You're one bite at a time.
Absolutely.
That's the way you overcome the challenge that life throws at you. You got a big one, and you seem to be approaching it from the exact point of view that we'll get it done Slow but steady.
You're a doctor, so I know you'll understand this. My kids were born at 25 weeks. They were 4 months early. So we couldn't be thinking long term. We had to think of, are they going to survive the next day? And we had to survive the next day for 4.5 months.
So, life challenges successfully overcome make you feel good about things. What advice, if you had to go back and look at yourself when you were 20 years old, what would you give that advice to yourself about?
It's a journey, not a destination. I know that's a cliche, but everything that I've had the opportunity to do has been amazing. Some of the things didn't work out. Some of the things are never going to work out. You don't want to turn around and go, what if? You always look forward and go, what could be? And I hope that my kids pick up that too. I hope that my teachers that I work with pick up that too. And I hope anybody else that's sitting here, maybe with some questions about their own profession, tomorrow's another day and we're going to keep moving forward.
Perfect. Now, do you have a living mentor, and what is the impact they have on you?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's the same answer, but watching your kids figure things out, that is my mentor, and for the holidays here, they just got a 3D printer, and now they're trying to figure out how to build for that 3D printer, and they don't know anything about it yet, other than you push the little button and things work. But they're now figuring out how to build their names on TeacherCast or on Tinkercad, and they're trying to figure out all these little parts to make this thing look good. You don't need a better mentor than that. I can tell you the famous people in the world, but that's nice. But from people who I look up to, they give me hugs every night.
Sounds like you're recommending triplets for everyone.
Well, I think so. I don't. There's nothing wrong with it. I mean, if you look at it, Donald Duck had triplets. Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Mickey Mouse had triplet nephews. I think everybody should give it a try.
Great. I've got 2 grandkids and 2 kids, so I'm stuck at 2. I need to go for 3, I think.
I said this the other day to somebody. I said, have you ever, lived with a 9-year-old? They go, oh my goodness. I said, great. Now have 2 more.
What is being impactful important to you?
I don't know that it is. I never, again, I don't do this to be an influencer. I don't do this to, I don't go out saying I'm going to make an impact today. I get up and I do what I do and this, give a hug to the family. And that's the end of the day. I don't want to say it's not important, but I think you need to be true to yourself. I think you need to have your own goals. I think it's important that at the end of the day, you do something wonderful. Some days are going to be better. Some days are not going to be better. Some days are just going to be days. But I don't know if the word is important on that. I think if you can put your head at the pillow at the end of the day and say, I did a good job, or my kids are still alive and healthy, I think that's good. I always look at it this way, and I say this to as many people as I can. You play the long game, right? So has TeacherCast had an impact over the last 11 years? Absolutely. And I can tell you the teachers who have said that, and I can tell you the companies who have said that, and I can tell you the school districts who have said that. But I don't wake up every day, or I don't walk into a professional session at a conference going, I'm going to make an impact. Impact is what happens when you turn around, not when you look forward.
I like that. Tell me what you want to be remembered for, Joe.
I don't think I have one answer for that. That's a good question. If I put it this way, if I had one answer, I think that's the wrong approach. There's people who say, I want to be remembered as the podcaster. Well, I don't want to be remembered as the podcaster. Okay. I want to be remembered as the guy that did this. Well, I don't want to be remembered as the guy that did this. I just want to be remembered as, okay, great guy, made a difference, and kids were successful. And again, my answer is going to be the same. I don't have an answer for that until I'm ready to turn around, and I'm not ready to turn around yet.
Yeah, I think every dad wants their kids to be successful is probably number one for most.
I hope so. Yeah.
Well, how can we support you out there in the world, around the country, in education? What would be our way of helping you?
If anybody's interested in learning how to use educational technology, become a better instructional coach, you can always head on over to teachercast.net. If you're looking for a speaker, if you're looking for somebody to come out to your conference and have a good time, would love to work with you guys on that. You can, of course, find out everything over at teachercast.net. But, really just continue doing what you're doing. Make some great content, share your passions with the world. I end every single one of my shows by saying, keep up the great work in your classroom and continue sharing your passions with your students. That's what I hope for whoever's listening to this. And that's what I hope for anybody who's ever listening to me.
What would you say about your experience on the show today, Jeff?
I had a great time. This has been fun. I'm excited about it. I'm glad that you reached out. And you got a good show here, and I'd highly recommend anybody else coming on.
Final word for you, Jeff.
When you're looking at this coming year, it's 12 months long. So break up your goals. Give me 12 goals that you can do. Okay, out of those 12 goals, pick one, call it January, break it into 5 parts. I need five ways to get that goal. Those are your weeks. In each of those weeks, give me 5 ways you're going to get to that goal. Those are your days. And if you just take things smaller by smaller, you're going to get there. I recently did a session and a workshop for my local Toastmasters organization, and we decided to take this concept of what is a 2-minute speech. And people think a 2-minute speech is a 2-minute speech. And we decided at the end to break it down. A 2-minute speech could be 2 1-minute speeches, or one, a part A and a part B. A 2-minute speech could be 8 15-second speeches. So you have an arc. It could be broken into 3 ways. It could be broken into 120 different ways. And as we mentioned before, figure out what that goal is, and then how do you break it down into manageable chunks. And once you start to do that, things are controllable. You can start to build a system for how you're going to get from point A to point Z, and you can take a breath. I want to say thank you, Bill, for having me on. This has been wonderful. If anybody wants to reach out, you can go to teachercast.net and find me online. Would love to have you as a guest on the show. Would love to help share your story and your influencer story on TeacherCast as well. And I'll say it again, keep up the great work in your classrooms and continue sharing your passions with not only your classrooms, your teachers, but with everybody.
And that's the final word from Jeff Bradbury. Excellent way you broke it down. Pieces by pieces equal a whole, and what better way to find a beginning to the new year than to hear about breaking down your goals. So excellent, Jeff. Thank you for sharing with us. And it's always good to work with teachers who teach, other teachers, instructors who instruct, and trainers who train. It's a calling. That's what it is for most of us who go beyond our normal career into the area that's instructional. And I applaud you for what you're doing. So excellent work. Thank you, sir.
Thanks for having me on.
You bet. Take care and have a wonderful, warm beginning to your new year. This is Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencer Podcast, and I sure enjoyed, and I hope you also enjoyed having Jeff Bradbury with us today, an educator from Norwalk, Connecticut. And we're really proud to showcase and highlight excellent people from around the world who are influencing others in a positive way. So be sure and like, comment below in the social media as we go forward, and be sure and join us for our next podcast. We'll be back on the air soon. So see you in just a few more minutes.